but it sounds like that, right? So today, before I really get into the discussion, we got to observe these 2 months, Martin Luther King and Black American History Month. How many of you are familiar with those two observations? Not everybody, right? So y'all going to help me teach it. You know why? Because I hate PowerPoint. And we have about 110 slides.
Divided by 5.
Oh, man. And I'm not about to read all that stuff. Okay. So the holiday of Martin Luther King, there's a lot that we can say about Dr. Martin Luther King. But what is, from your perspective, the most accomplished thing he did during his lifetime? You can speak. It's not rhetorical. What did he do that stood out during his lifetime? He did what? Ice cream.
I had a dream speech.
I had a dream speech. Okay, he did. And that was
Voting rights.
Voting rights. What else?
He led through peaceful.
He led through peaceful protests, correct? He put his life on the line. He got out in front of something that was happening in our culture and endured what happened to him for the greater good of everybody else. Dr. Martin Luther King was a very, very important man for America, not just for African Americans, but all Americans. One of his statements were, can you click? Injustice anywhere is a threat everywhere. I paraphrased it. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. What does that mean? Don't have me point you out.
Cancer spread.
Cancer spreads. If I allow this to happen to you, eventually it's going to happen to somebody else. So when we see something that's unjust, we must act. And he did that, which led to other things like voting rights. It led to the passing in Congress of the illegal discrimination against African Americans because what was going on in our country during that time. A lot of people don't like to hear about our history because it hurts. Some people feel guilty about it. Look, hey, you know what? I don't want to hear that. But if you don't know your history, you won't know your future. You got to address those things. Some people feel that it's not important, but it is. It's very important. Next. We said peaceful protest, correct? That's how he did it. He did something that was damn near impossible during that time, during the culture that we were in America. There was a lot of things were being done to the African Americans, as well as the things that we were denied. Like I had a dream speech. That kind of spearheaded where all the changes started to happen. Congress passed the law that you could no longer legally discriminate against African Americans. He was the spearhead, the tip of the spear for that, and other blacks, let's go. Then his life ended, 1968. How did that affect everybody in America when he died? How did it affect everybody in America? Got to get through this, y'all.
Rioting.
Say again?
It was riots.
Why did they riot?
Anger.
Why were they angry?
Over his death.
Okay. And because of the stuff that he did and what he represented at that time. Okay, so that's the reason that a lot of things happened, the injustices, the riots, the protests. People were angry because he stood for something great for the country. So his life didn't go in vain. Matter of fact, he's one of the 9 presidents that has a memorial in a national park. He has streets named after him. He has statues all over the country, and even in other worlds, in other countries, not everywhere. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere. So Dr. Martin Luther King was a very key figure in American history. So we're going to push forward Black History Month. Why is that important? Why should black people be acknowledged in their contributions? Okay, thank you. Recognizing their past and what they work for. What else?
Times in our history, their achievements have been silent, and this is a chance for us to actually reflect on what they've woven into this culture.
Thank you. Do you think that's important? Do you think it's important to be acknowledged? My officers, if you're not rendered a salute, how would you feel? If no one saluted you, that were beneath you in rank, how would you feel? Disrespected? Did you work hard to get that rank? You put in work? You did your job? And that's part of the things that come with that job, the acknowledgement of who you are and what you are in this culture. African Americans did a lot for America. It's American history, not just black history, it's American history. We have to understand that. But it's sensitive. People don't like to talk about it. But we're going to get a little deeper into it today. Go for it. Now, click. Who knows about George Washington Carver? What is he known for?
The peanut.
All right, you win $10. Next. Thomas, what about him? You heard that name before?
Yes.
What is he known for? Created subconductors for space communications. Next. George A. Elkhorn. What is he known for? Invented the imaging X-ray. Next. Garrett Morgan. You heard that name before?
Yes.
Okay, what is he known for?
Stoplight.
Gas masks and traffic signals. He gets $10. I'm just playing. You ain't getting no money from me. You're like, what? I'm about to answer something, right? Next. Latimer. What is he known for? Did y'all know that? How many of these facts were you totally unaware of? Raise your hand, some of them at least. So there's contributions that African Americans had for the American culture. However, because of the culture that we came up in, there were things that they actually had to struggle through and go through. But despite it all, African Americans are a crucial and integral part of American culture. And that's why we celebrate or observe Black History Month. Y'all checking on that one? Y'all good? All right. One more? Go. Charles Drew. Are y'all familiar with the Brown versus the Board of Education? Now, why would the National Guard be called? Why would the National Guard be called?
For their safety.
For their safety. Can you imagine that? Kids, how many of you have kids? Raise your hand. Your kids going to a school and they're risking their lives just to go to school. Just think about that. That's where we were. It's not where we're at right now. But one thing that I'm trying to put across, and we actually move on, is this. Do not undermine what someone's been through. And if you don't understand what they've been through, seek to understand through interacting with them. Does that make sense, everybody? When you are in a command, or you in charge of a group of people, do you think it's important that you know who they are? How important is it? Top level, mid level, low level? Extremely important, right? Why is it important? Why is it important? What's the purpose of knowing who you work with or who's on your team? Why is it important? Yes.
People know who they are, their capabilities, their personalities, and how what turns them on, what turns them off, so you can know the whole round person.
You're being too personal. That's sensitivity. We ain't got time for none of that. Do we hear that sometimes? That you can't connect with that person on your team because they feel that they shouldn't connect with you? They don't want to communicate. They don't want to open up. And what happens when a person feels like they're not part of the team?
Shut down.
Shut down. Why would they shut down? What's the purpose of the shutdown?
They don't feel they're needed.
Say again?
They don't feel they're needed, or
They don't feel that they're needed. They don't feel that they're needed. Is it important to feel that you're part of the team and that you're valued on the team? Is that really important for everybody? How many of you feel valued on the team? Honestly. How many of you have been last picked on the team during your life? We all experienced it sometime, right? So in the military, we can't afford to do those things. We can't afford to have a person on the team feel like they're not part of the team. However, our upbringing can cause that to happen. Your leadership is reflective of your character, of your biases, of your values, and of your beliefs. Because if I feel a certain way about a group of people, it might not be conscious to me, but it might come off in my leadership, in my interaction. So if I'm sitting here and you see me only dealing with the bald head guys, and they're the only ones that are in positions of power, even the Army guy, say that I don't like him, I love you, man. Hooah, right? So it can happen unconsciously when we talk about unconscious bias. We all have them. But the key part is that bias hurting my team? Is it preventing me from getting the best out of my team? A lot of leaders really believe it's about them, like it's all about you. It's not. If you look on that left breast pocket, it's US, it's us, it's about us. It's not just about you. And when they start putting value back into the people, now you'll see a different level of performance out of the group. You have to invest in them in order for them to invest in you. And once you have that, and they know you got their best interests in mind, they know that they're heard, they're understood, they're valued, and they have a choice in the matter, people perform. We're not leading machines, we're leading human beings. And we forget that sometimes when we put this uniform on. We're more task focused. Up here, I was trying to get you personable. Who is that person on my team? What commonalities do they have? How can you stereotype me if you've never had a conversation with me? Perceptions. Those things happen. Where do they come from? Where do your perceptions and stereotypes come from? Do you know? Experiences. All right. How many of you eat watermelon? Oh my God. I hate watermelon. I hate it with a passion. I used to eat watermelon, but I had a bad experience when I was a kid in New Orleans. I was about 10. My mama sit me out on the porch, some salt, some water, and had me a piece of watermelon, and I'm chewing and I'm biting. I bit into a bad part of that watermelon, and my stomach said, hell no, and it came out. Now, back in the 70s, we didn't have lotion. We had this stuff called Vaseline. Now, I don't know if you know I'm dark-skinned, and I'm kind of tan. So I had to keep the Vaseline on, because if I was ashy and black, it's a problem. Look, they're like, yeah. So when I threw up, all the seeds were stuck on my hand and the slobber and everything, so I was traumatized. I never ate watermelon again. Fast forward, I get married. And I say, look here, woman, whatever you do, you don't bring no freaking watermelon in my house. And you won't feed it to my kids. Now, I said that in my head. But that's what I was saying, you know. So over time, you know, we had kids, and they brought watermelon in the house, and I try to, you know, tell my kids, don't do that. You don't want watermelon. You know, watermelon stunts your growth, son. Literally, it gives you cancer. It makes you bald. Look at this. And every time I went in the actual grocery store, I literally would avoid watermelon. I didn't want to see it. And my family, they started to help me. You know, they put the watermelon and get it cut up, put it behind the milk because I had an issue. But they was working with me. But still, my kids, I got like 4 kids, and my boys like to tease me, like, Daddy, and I slap their hand, and the watermelon juice get on me, and I just break out into hives and things like that. But the problem about that is I only had one bad experience with watermelon. One bad experience stopped me from wanting to even deal with any other watermelon in my life. People do that sometimes. They have one bad experience with somebody, or they see something and say, hey, oh, that's the way it is. But they don't even know why they're thinking the way they're thinking. Just with my hand. And you're not even paying attention consciously, but unconsciously, I'm programming you. I'm actually governing your thought processes and your choices. Do y'all catch it now? And that's what society does us. They tell us what people are. Those people, these people. And how do you know them? You don't even interact with them. You don't even connect with them. You might say hi, but do you go by and say, hey, no, teach me your language. And tell me a little bit more about your religion. Diversity and inclusion is leadership, y'all. If I got a team, I want everybody on my team feeling valued, and that's just what it is. If you got people on your team, you're wasting manpower if you're not engaging them, if you're not including them. Say if I came to this organization and I seen some former Marines, I'm the leadership, and it seems like the wall is all Marines. How would you feel about that? That's not rhetorical. How would you feel about that? Like the Army guy. Like he's being, singled out. Would it be fair to everybody else that's on the team? What would you say if you left and went out in the community and asked you, hey, how is it to be part of the National Guard? What would you say then? Would you say, come on in? Or it sucks? If you're not former Marine or something like that, you're not going to get promoted. You're not going to advance. You're not going to get the training. You're not going to get the evaluations that you're supposed to. Is that fair? Is that fair? No. Everybody needs to be acknowledged on the team. Everybody, not one person, everybody. If you got 70-50 with aircraft, what is that? 70-50 taking off. You have to reach, 70% of your takeoff speed before you hit 50% of your strip, or you have to abort. So we can't have 85% of people not reaching their maximum speed or potential without aborting the mission, because mission is always in jeopardy when people don't feel like they're there. How do I get you up to speed? How do I know what training you need? How do I know what your values that you bring to the training? You can't find out until you connect with the people. It sounds simple, but everybody likes to talk about orders and tasks and all these different standards. We got to get back to the people leadership. We got to get back to really connecting and say, hey, if I'm a commander, if I'm a senior enlisted, that I'm speaking and connecting with them. They know who I am. They know my values and beliefs, and I'm trying to do the best for them. Because if your people on your team feel like they're being valued, appreciated, led properly, they're going to outperform the average. They will. They can't help it because of who they are. You have to provide us our needs so we can be healthy enough to do the things that we need to do. How many of you get up and say, oh, yeah, it's drill week, and let's do it? How many of y'all excited? Oh, not me. Right? There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. You should be excited to go to work. But because of those dynamics, are you feeling valued? Are you feeling appreciated? What's causing the disconnect that we're having in the different organizations? Those things matter. We have to get back to people leadership, showing them that they are the asset. It's not about us. It's about them if you're in a leadership position. They should be able to approach you. If your people can't approach you, that's a problem with you. Why is that? It's a cause and effect. Now, unconscious bias hits a lot of different areas. Sexism, racism, sexual orientation. It does. It hits all those aspects. When you bring that into your leadership, it really affects the team performance, because everybody's not going to be like you. You lead diversity. But you should put people in positions so they can succeed, because if they succeed, you succeed. Does that make sense to everybody? It does. I know a little bit about the culture with the MDAers and the AGR. It's different. From a command perspective, if they're coming on a weekend and they're not getting properly trained, what happens when the bubble goes up? And the AGRs, the permanent people go down. What happens? We're in jeopardy. We got a weak link. We really got a weak link. How do we address that? Who do we hold accountable for that? Those things matter. Just because you're a weekender doesn't mean that you're not valued. You need to have the same amount of time, the same amount of expertise. You should be able to do the job that they do and not feel that if you put in that position that you might fail. Does that make sense? So when we talk about diversity and inclusion, let's get away from it's not leadership. It's all leadership. It's not sensitivity. It's about taking care of your people. Taking care of your people. Everybody here, diversity and inclusion. Oh, I ain't going to that. Why is that the answer or the comment? Why? You're trying to say, I don't value them. Make sure that when you're leading or you're dealing with your people, that they are included in the plan, that they feel included on your team. Because when they leave, they talk about your leadership. How many of you have experiences with bad leaders? Raise your hand. That you'll never forget. You take it with you. Do you spread it? You spread it. Hey, this person is this person is that. How many of you have people you will go to war with anytime? It's because of how they made you feel. It's because of what they did for you. It's how they led you, how they made you feel valued. You say, I put my life on the line for you, but not you. We got to get back to the grassroots of leadership and stop saying that it's different from diversity and inclusion. Everybody counts. Everybody counts. And if you don't understand that body, connect with that body. And you'll find similarities in everybody that you come in contact with. And if you have somebody different from you, that just adds to you. It makes you better because you have more experience. We got to stop ousting people. You got to stop it, man. And ladies, you have to stop it. But a lot of the stuff we do is unconscious. It's habit forming. We just do it that way. That's how it is. We allow social media and media to influence our thought processes. Think for yourself. Don't have people put you in a box and make you think you're thinking. You're not thinking. You're not thinking. Think past you. Think bigger picture. Think about the organization. What can we do better in the organization? Leaders, if they have issues, create something that they can talk to you about the issues. If not, you're going to have knee-jerk reactions most of the time. Something happens, then when we follow the trail, it could have been fixed a long time ago. If we kept everybody in the loop, if we were connected with everybody. And again, diversity and inclusion is not separate from leadership. It's all of that. It's all of that.